So we're at 30th Street subway station, and we're gonna take the T5 all the way to the end, which does not mean taking a trolley all the way to the end, because it's a really weird situation where it's a trolley extension bus service.
Or is it a trolley replacement bus service?
Who knows? You decide. I think the next T5 is coming in like 6 minutes, assuming that it's on time, which is a tall order for these things, but... It's funny how meandering this whole thing feels, because I don't ride this part of the system, and so I'm used to the trolleys coming out of the tunnel a lot faster. But there's what, 2 more stops to go before we come out of the ground? So...
Yeah.
A little while later.
yeah, the question of where the bus is a very interesting one.
No, yeah, they start there and then come around and I think stop at Island, so I think it's over there. I think it is just right there.
I think it's this one. That might be it.
It's free. It's free transfer.
Alright, now we're on the T5 bus, which is incredibly short. How many blocks does it tell?
There are about 5 stops. It's about 8, I don't even think it's a mile and a half.
Yeah. Does this count as like the shortest bus route on the system if you take it in isolation, or?
I think so.
So anyway, this bus is not its own route, but rather a timed transfer to and from the T5 trolley that extends it out to the Island Avenue and 80th Street loop. But south of here, namely 73rd Street and Elmwood Avenue, trolleys do not currently run, so this bus service fills in the gap for reasons that will become clear soon enough.
That's why they shut this down, to actually do like a pilot project for the new light rail stations. I like how they look. They're nice and modern.
Yeah.
And yeah, it will be nice when they do this to the G, because those island stations right now are kind of sketchy looking.
Now what, do we walk to the airport line? Just go around the back of the strip while walk around the side of a road to look at half abandoned road.
I guess this is one of the old stations, huh? I guess this is just a turnaround point, and they don't... Yeah, because it doesn't look like it's been like paved over to allow any people to stand there or sit there. I mean, there's a little shelter. Maybe that's
where the bathroom is.
I'd be surprised if they ever reopen that bathroom. Oh. Alright, we're exiting the gigantic strip mall at the end of the T5 bus, and now we're going to walk over to Eastwick Regional Rail Station, which is the only non-airport stop on the line, other than Penn Medicine.
They might extend the T5 to there.
Well,
We'll see.
it would be cool if they did, but of course transit projects move glacially in the United States, so I find it unlikely that I will still be living here when that happens, unless for some reason I live here for the next 30 years. But anyways, we're walking along a road without a sidewalk, but I guess it doesn't matter too much because there's no traffic, so that's cool. The fact that we're not the only people walking here is itself kind of weird. I would have thought that we'd be the only people crazy enough to walk on a road with no sidewalk, but I guess not.
I feel like out here is effectively becomes like airport overflow cheap parking.
Something like that. But yeah, there's somebody out there walking their dog, so. You can kind of see the catenaries on the trees. I love how all the signs say no stopping any time, and yet this road has a bunch of parked cars on it. Like, okay, there's a parking zone up there, but everyone's parking outside the parking zone.
This is like the bottom 10% of all stations on regional rail.
They just sort of,
the 5 newest.
yeah. I mean, you can tell it. You can tell it's new because of all this fresh wood and the ADA compliant ramp and everything.
Still 40 years old.
But then they just
there's the bus leaving that I don't even know what bus that is.
they just expect you to intuit that the station is here based on the infrastructure, which, to be honest, to be fair, that's not hard. But there's no signage outside the station, only once you get inside. Well, are we gonna go back to 30th Street, or are we gonna go to the airport?
Back to 30th. I think it doesn't even matter at this point.
All right, let's.
The outbound train is only 2 minutes more than the inbound train.
All right, let's cross over. Now there's the giant airport parking lot.
That's not the air. I think that's either the employee lot or it's for one of the business parks. That's not even the main airport lot.
Yeah, but I've heard that that's like the main reason people use this station. I think it's really funny how in so many of the announcements they're so stilted.
Due to construction, a temporary schedule change will be in effect for select lines.
Isn't that so weird? A temporary schedule change will be in effect. Yeah, it's so stilted.
Due to construction, a temporary schedule.
It's a busy train. Well, at least it looks that way. Well, we're back where we started at 30th Street subway station. After just coming off the airport line from Eastwick. So that was just a little short exploration of the T5 and the weird T5 bus extension, which hopefully once they get the new stations built,
Which is happening.
we will reopen for trolley service. That'll be cool. Once it does, I should do a video on that. But we'll see. Anyway, thanks for watching. See you next time.